सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयम् मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदम् तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात् शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात्। Payovrata was done by Aditi, and because of that Payovrata, the Lord Sri Hari gave her darshan, promising her that he would come back with a solution as her own son. So Vamana is in turn the younger brother of Indra. How the oldest one was Indra, born to Aditi, and the youngest one born was Vamana. So Vamana's older brother is, so he says, don't worry, since he'll become my older brother, I promise you that I'll take care of him, take care of my older brother. Thus having promised, the Lord disappeared. With his Yoga Shakti, Kashyapa Prajapati understood that the Lord has entered in him as the seed form, which he very cautiously placed in Aditi, and soon Aditi was to deliver this child that the Lord had promised. So that comes in the 18th chapter of the 8th canto. So the Lord was born, and it was in the most beautiful form that he was born. Usually whenever you hear of Lord Narayana taking birth, the first few sentences explains him that he was born as a small Vishnu Rupa itself. So he was born with the 4 bhuja, with the Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, and then he had big eyes staring at Aditi. Shyamavadato Jhasharaja Kundala. It was a beautiful bluish color tone that the skin had, darker color of tone, and it also had the kundala. The Lord's kundala is a very different kundala that when you observe the description of the Lord, his kundala has always been described as makara kundala. Either the kundala had a makara shape on it, or the kundala itself was of the makara, meaning the crocodile shape, or it was the crocodile hanging upside down or with the tail on, I don't know, but the way that the description is, even in the bhajans that we hear, Makara Kundala Dhari. That the bhajan that comes immediately to my mind is Panduranga, Panduranga. Sant Keshav Das used to sing this. So he says that Makara Kundala. And it was all with these abhushana he was born. He came with this abhushana, with Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And then on his, and the description when I heard it, I thought, because it was the Lord, it is possible. Imagine anybody else coming with this kind of attributes, it is difficult. The Lord came with the Shrivatsa Chinha on his chest, then he had the kirita on his forehead, and there were beautiful anklets on his feet, and there was the Kaustubha Mani which was hanging from his neck. So as soon as there was this beautiful form of the Lord expressing, and Brahmaji had already cited this, so all around in the universe there was such a pleasant feeling, as though that all the andhakara or the murkhatva of the people has been suddenly vanished. When was the day that he was born? This comes in the 5th and 6th shloka. Shronayam Shravanadvadasyam Muhurte Abhijiti Prabhu. The time and the place where he was born, this is Shravana Nakshatra, and it was in the month of Bhadrapada, Shukla Paksha, and then it was on the Dvadashi. And what was the Muhurta? Muhurta was the Abhijita Muhurta, that the Lord was born. So as soon as he was born in these kinds of signs, people who were there present, great scholars, they said it can be none other than the Lord who can have such a perfect match, who can have such a perfect timing, that the entire horoscope shows that he is none other than the Lord. Usually when they are born, they write the horoscope, but with regards to the Lord, it is always that they announce that it is the Lord himself, and it says whatever he has come to do, we cannot predict further. So having thus said, today also, even in today's date, it is recognized as the Vijaya Dvadashi, that he was born. And as Aditi and Kashyapa Maharaj both were seeing this beautiful form of the Lord, from an infant stage with the Yoga Maya of the Lord himself, he grew into a small Vatu form right then. So there was no time gap between he being a child and a young Vatu. As soon as they saw him and as they were seeing him, he grew into that small little stature. This comes in the Grahita Deham Nija Yoga Mayaya Prajapatis Chahajayeti Vismitaha. Kashyap Maharaj immediately said, this is something that I have not seen ever, that the Lord is born and immediately he is grown to an 8-9-year-old young boy, and he prostrates. He prostrates to that Vamana form. And this Brahmachari, as soon as he had taken that short, stout form, this brahmachari was now said, we have to do the Yajnopavita samskara. The Janevu samskara has to be done for this brahmachari. So the Upanayana samskara, Gayatri Devi herself came and whispered the mantra in the Vamana's ears. Then Devaguru Brihaspati ji gave him the Yajnopavita. His father Kashyapa Prajapati gave him the Mekhala. Mekhala is something that is worn on the waist. Today's time, it is not the waistband or the belt, but it is a thread that is usually tied on the waist. So he gave that Mekhala. And for a brahmachari, that thread is made of the munja grass. The Upavita is also munja grass and the Mekhala is also munja grass. Now wearing such things, you probably cannot afford to have lot of sleep. The point being, when you are a brahmachari, you are supposed to be focusing on studies. And the Shastra says, Sukharthinaha vidyam tyajet, vidyarthinaha sukham tyajet. Very clear there. If you are a vidyarthi, if you are somebody who is very eager to learn, educate yourself, all sukha has to be given up. Whether it is in the form of Nintendo or PS3 or Game Boy, whatever it is. And if you want sukha, give up vidya. Now taking to such discipline wherein vidya or knowledge is something of importance, so Mekhala was tied down. Then Mother Earth came into a divine form and presented him with a Krishna Mruga Charma. Dadau Krishnajinam Bhumihi Dandam Soma Vanaspatihi Kaupina Chadanam Mata. Now Mata, his own mother Aditi, gave the Kaupina. So he was wearing the Kaupina. There was all the samskara being done. Kamandalum Veda Garbhaha. Now the brahmachari has to carry a kamandalu. Usually you must have seen that, that is where they pour water from to give shapa. So that is the kamandalu. They carry a, you can say that it is not for here to go. Kamandalu is always on the carry. So that was given by Vedas themselves. And Saraswati Devi, she appeared and gave him a Rudraksha Mala, Japamala. Akshamalam Maharaja Saraswati Avyayatmanaha. She came and gave the Japamala. Now, when everybody were looking, as they were looking, with all these things being done, the teja of this Vamana was beyond anybody's limit to hold. They had never seen, it appeared as though that he was another sun right in front of them. Sun, S-U-N, with a spelling difference. The sun was already there, but there was as though he was so bright that he could beat that sun which had risen in the sky. Savai brahmavarchasenaivam sabham sambhavito vatuhu. Vatuhu, this brahmachari, because of his brahmavarchasa, the entire sabha was glowing from his brahmavarchasa. Now as soon as he was done with all these things, Annapurna Devi, Sati herself, comes down because a brahmachari, he says, I would be the first one to offer bhiksha to you. Usually when the Yajnopavita samskara is done, in today's condition, Yajnopavita samskara is done only as a license to get married. So if the marriage is tomorrow, today in the morning or just an hour or two before the marriage, people get initiated into the Yajnopavita samskara, the Janevu, and that's about it. This is the initiation that was given when the child enters Gurukula wherein the child enters the Gurukula with a certain system of focus on tuning the mind, balancing the mind, so that the mind is available to learn Satvidya. So this initiation was given maybe when they were 4.5, 5 years old. And today's usage that we find, the Janevu is long enough so that you can scratch entire back. There are two things that I find ridiculously abused is the mothers wearing Mangal Sutra, if they are wearing, and the men if they are wearing the Yajnopavita. These two are heavily abused items. So since the Mangal Sutra and Janevu is something that has to be there, so you would find this safety pin, house keys. These are the two primary things that you see there, which is sad. Locker keys are also tied onto the Yajnopavita. Why? It is always there, so it is always there with me. So I told somebody who was visiting US, I said, that key which is hanging on your Yajnopavita, remove it, because when they scan you and there is a metal, you will have a hard time taking it out. He was laughing. I said, Swami, after I have heard your lecture, I have stopped putting it there. So this brahmachari who was given all this, the first bhiksha was given by Annapurna Devi. So after the Yajnopavita samskara is done, he has to go and beg for food. A brahmachari is not pampered by the parents anymore. In fact, there is one particular sequence wherein the mother is asked to seat the child in the lap and feed that child before he takes to the Yajnopavita. So that indicates that that was your last hug, last TLC, tender love and care. After that, no more tender love and care. You buckle up and start studying and focus beyond all these peripherals. So he has to sleep on the floor, and no sukha of those Dunlop pillows and Dunlop nothing, no mattresses. Sleep on the floor and have morning in the Brahma Muhurta, if you have to sit with the Guru and do this entire Sandhya Vandana, you have to wake up before Brahma Muhurta and have that cold shower, and the hair, almost 15 days once when we were in the ashram, every 15 days once we used to have our mundana done. So there will be only one choti left, choti, a tuft, that's it. Rigors of the ashrama, many people think that ashrama is where you can have lot of aram. Somehow that aram and ashrama, it rings similarity. But when they start seeing the rigors of the ashrama, the very word says shrama. Shrama meaning to put effort, to learn. It is not ashrama. It is not a place wherein there is no effort. It is ashrama, asamantat shramayati, wherein you put complete effort to get a comprehensive picture, to learn everything so that you can grow to that comprehensive idea in your mind. So to such a brahmachari, Annapurna Devi herself came saying, Beta, I will feed you. I will be the first one to feed you. So thus, this brahmachari had his Yajnopavita samskara done. So how was he looking? He was looking clean, skin top, having one choti. One hand there was the deer skin under his arm, other hand was holding the kamandalu. He was wearing the wooden slippers, wooden slippers which are to be balanced only on the fingers, two toes on your leg. Initially it is very difficult wearing and walking, but then couple of us had developed the skill to play even soccer on that. Afterwards it had become very easy. Well, one thing I tell you, wearing all these things, and if your mind is restless and jumpy, all these things put the mind in its correct perspective. They all have its say there. So this brahmachari, after having received the bhiksha from Annapurna Devi, he said, okay, let me go and do my job. As a brahmachari, I have to go and ask bhiksha. So where did he start going? This comes in the 19th shloka. He says, Samiddhamahitam vahnim krutva parisamuhanam paristirya samabhyarcha samidbhir ajuhodvijaha. Having offered everything as a purnahuti into that morning fire that was lit, and then having done the purnahuti, he left for bhikshatana. Where did he go? Balim Bhrugu Nam. He had heard that Bali had a lot of yashas and he was a great worshipper of Brahmana. So he directly went from Aditi's home all the way to Bali's place where he was performing. So where was he performing this? Tam Narmadayaha Tataha Uttare. Narmadayaha Uttare Tate. The Narmada Nadi is flowing. So there is one bank which is on the northern side, the other bank is on the southern side. Those of you who are from Gujarat area, so they do this Narmada Parikrama. So they start from the southern side, go through the northern side and then come back. So on the northern side of this Narmada Nadi, Bali was sitting and performing the yajna along with the instructions of Shukracharya. So he was doing his anusthana. And what was he doing? Under the guidance of Shukracharya, he had performed countless number of Ashwamedha Yaga. And that day he was performing the Ashwamedha Yaga. So he was doing the anusthana. He had taken the sankalpa to perform the Ashwamedha Yaga. So as he was doing the anusthana, he must have opened his eyes, or he must have heard people, moving, because there was a lot of restlessness in the crowd there that day. So he opened his eyes and looked around. So everybody were pointing in one direction. So there he saw, the sun was already there. There he saw, as though from the horizon, another sun-like thing moving towards their Yajnasthala. So he was looking so bright. In the 21st sloka it says that they all thought as though Yatha Ravim, as though there is a second sun glowing in the horizon. All the Rutvijas, all the Pandits and Purohits who had assembled there to help Bali suddenly forgot what they had to do. It all paused, and they all were turning to this side where Vaman Bhagavan, Brahmachari ji, was coming. So when they finally saw that Brahmachari ji step into the Yajna Shala, so what did they find? They saw that somewhere down the lane he had gathered a beautiful umbrella. I tell you, it is a must. When your head is clean, walking under a bright sun is not a joke. So umbrella, I can appreciate that. In fact, in the temple, before renovation, I had talked to Nanubai. I had told him that exactly at that place where I usually stand, there was a light, glowing bulb. And I used to feel lot of heat in that place. It is only later I understood that there are two reasons for that. One, because the bulb which was generating that kind of heat, and the second reason was the thinning of my or the deforestation at this level. I started recognizing only then, and I was getting balled up there. The heat is really difficult to bear. So he had made a beautiful umbrella of a bamboo thing, and it was, this nowadays you can see it in the Chinese, or when you go to Kerala, they have that kind of bamboo made umbrellas. It was a cute little small one, not a huge big one, a small little one. So he was holding that in his right hand. Then the deer skin was under his left arm, Kamandalu was in his right hand. He was wearing kaupina, and there was pitambara tied around his chest, and there was the Yajnopavita across his shoulders. He was looking as cute as it could be. And he looked immensely fierce, as though a realized soul in a small capsule. He looked really very immense. And that eyes carried that teja, Brahma teja. There was fearlessness in his eyes. So Raja Bali thought that here comes a true brahmachari. A true brahmachari who is, they say, even Adi Shankaracharya ji has sung the glory of brahmachari. He says, Kaupinavantaha khalu bhagyavantaha. They don't require to maintain an ashram, maintain a house, maintain this, maintain that. Nothing is required. All that they have as a possession is a lion cloth hanging, drying out there, and another lion cloth for local ajja. That is it. So he was here standing and wearing that wooden sandals. He was standing in front of that Yajnashala. So looking at this, Bali immediately got up, went to this brahmachari, invited him inside the Yajnashala, gave him the Uttama Asana. Having given him the Uttama Asana, he did Vaman Bhagavan's puja. So whenever there is a Atithi who comes, you don't make the Atithi wait. So Atithi was invited, Atithi was worshipped. That too at such a Sreshta Muhurta wherein he was doing the Anusthana, and this brahmachari, such a Tejavanta brahmachari had come in, he felt very happy. He says, as though that my entire lineage of ancestors were happy on me, that they sent you as the Yajna Phala. If I had anywhere in my mind that all these yajnas that I had performed in past would not have been in a proper code of conduct, your presence has disproved all my anxieties. Because your presence is something like punya phala. I am glad that you are here. Now that you are here as a brahmachari, I am a grihastha, I feel like offering something unto you. And since this entire world is mine, he ruled 3 worlds. The upper world, earth, and the lower world. So he says, all these 3 worlds are mine. You can ask whatever you want. He even says, you can ask for cow, you can ask for gold, you can ask for home which has all home appliances. No, I am not making it up, it is there in this 30-second shloka. He says, griham and griharthinam, whatever comes in the home as the home appliances. Everything will be given. You want, this is very beautiful. He says, if you want that when you come to of an age, that you have to get married to a Brahmana Kanya, I'll arrange for that also. And Vamana Bhagavan did not seem to be moved by all these things. He says, whatever you want, because I see that you have come in such an appointed time as though that you have come for asking for something. I feel somewhere deep in myself, I am ready to give you, ask. Now in the next chapter, Vamana Bhagavan creates all clauses possible to make sure that what he asks, Bali says yes. Very, very beautiful, tactful way that Vamana Bhagavan asks. So Vamanji says, whatever you said about the Grihastha Ashrami, about those who are doing Anusthana, as for the Sabha Maryada or the Atithi Maryada, just hearing and looking at what you have been doing, I felt really satisfied. The first way to get into somebody's good books is, we could have seen that even with Gurudev's style of approach, people would write questions and give. I didn't find anywhere where, I think one or two questions he did say, but most of the questions when they were given, he would first say, a very beautiful question. And the moment he had said very beautiful question, the person who had written the question would look at everybody else. Gurudev said, good question. I wrote that question. The very point that you have written a question indicates that you don't know about that subject. What big deal that you have written that question and Gurudev has, but psychologically there is an impact. So Vamana Bhagavan also says, you have, just by looking at you and the simplicity and the thoroughness with which you are doing, it is very good to see a person like you. And why not? Because you have been following the Guru Parampara and their instructions as Shukracharya has been instructing you. Bhrugavaha Samparaye, the instructions of the Shukracharya and the other Bhrugu Santana, you have been doing a great job. Added along with this, you have been permitted to perform all this. You have taken the permission, you have taken the blessings of your grandfather, Prahlada himself. Now as soon as he said Prahlada, probably Bali gave him a smile. Yes, that I did. That I took the permission of my grandfather. So Vamanji says, nobody in your Vamsha so far has been somebody who does not have, somebody who is not endowed with courage. Or I have never found, or I have never seen, or I have never heard that in your parampara or in your life or in your Vamsha there has been anybody who has been stingy. And I could see that reflecting in your way of behavior, that as soon as I came you did offer all these things, and I was glad to see that you offered. But I hope that the offer that was given to a Brahmana, that to a Brahmachari, is maintained to the word, that when I ask something, you do not go back on your word. So he explains the various things as to why a promise made cannot be broken. No. Bali was like anticipating, Arre Baba, I have given you a word and now you are creating such treaties wherein there is no loophole at all. What exactly are you planning to ask? Like, when your kids come and they start applying lot of maska chaska. Mom, you are the greatest. I love you so much. And then they start, last time when you did this, you were so good at it. It's so cool, Mom. Mom, the antennas are up, eagerly waiting. There is some kind of a if clause, but clause, something going to come and strike. What exactly is it that this guy is going up to? So Bali was also like ready. Raja Bali was waiting. So he, with lot of courage, So he says, very explicitly Raja Bali comes out and says, it seems like you definitely have something in your mind to ask. Ask that which your next 7 generations will feel proud of what you have asked. I have the capacity to give it to you. Because the entire earth, Swarga and the lower worlds are mine. So anything, even if you want a Dvipa, this earth which is of 7 continents, 1 continent I can readily give it to you if you want. Not just the continent, I can give you the all luxuries filled in that continent for you. So Vamana again goes back to his lengthy way of saying things. He says, who needs all these Dvipa and everything? I have heard that there are people, Sapta Dvipa Adhipatayo Nripaha Vainyaga Yadayaha. So there are people like Pruthu and Gaya. They had the entire control over all the 7 continents. But I am not interested in these 7 continents. All that I care for, he says in the 27th sloka, after having given up such a big picture, this is 3 steps of your assets. 3 steps that I can place my foot on. Now Raja Bali, imagine, he was not anticipating suddenly this little Vamana to blow up. And he was thinking, you are hardly this size. Okay. 3 steps. Maximum it would be this much. So he looks at Vamana with lot of love and concern. He says, Beta, your dispassion shows that you have lot of jnana. The way you have described that you don't want these islands or anything. But then the desire that you have shown that you want just 3 steps of where you can place your foot, it seems very childish. Let us think that you have not asked anything. Try again. एक और बार मौका दे देता हूं, जाओ. Try again. Try something big this time. And as he was forcing, Shukracharya caught hold of Bali and said, Chup, Murkha. And he pulled him aside. Yesha Vairochane Sakshat Bhagavan Vishnuravyayah. It is not my gut feeling, I can see that this is that Mahamayavi Vishnu himself. Kashyapad Aditehe Jataha Devanam Karya Sadhakaha. He was just born to Kashyapa and Aditi. Shukracharya, who was also a very Satya Sankalpi, could immediately, through his meditative powers, understand that this was a Lord who was just born. And why was he born? He was born to Aditi, Devanam Karya Sadhakaha, so that he could help the Devas. I'll tell you exactly what he is going to ask. With 1 foot, he would place on your entire earth and lower worlds. With the 2nd foot, he is going to take the entire upper worlds. Since you will not be left with anything to give, anything to offer for the 3rd foot, you will be enslaved by him, tied down by him. And this is called Shukraniti. Shukraniti is often used When people start using conveniences as the parameter, they start quoting Shukra. Shukra is also Guru, but Guru of Daityas. So what is the Shukra Niti? He says, it is okay to lie. The entire scriptures say that it is not okay to lie. That Shukra says it is okay to lie. Under what conditions? When your life is at stake. When your livelihood is at stake. He gives 5-6 such conditions. Maybe being in Kali Yuga, we are better than Shukracharya. That's a different case study. He says, in these conditions you can lie. When can you break your promise? He says, you can break your promise when your dharma, yasha, artha, kama, svajana, when one of these things or all of these things get shaken up, then you can break your promise also. And Shukracharya says, this is the right moment. Tell him that you promised out of ignorance, you are not going to fulfill your promise. Tell him that. Because in a grihastha dharma, when you have something, that is when you can do dana. When everything is gone and then nothing is left, they cannot enslave you. He has come here only to enslave you. Bach ke raho Vishnu se. He has taken this Mayavi Rupa. And this is not something which is sadhu for the Daitya. Na sadhu manye Daityanam. This is not something good for, not beneficial for the Daityas. Now, having thus being told by Shukracharya under various circumstances, he gives 6-7 logics as to why he can break the promise. I don't want to go into those details. Oh, मालूम था ये सब. So having heard it from Shukracharya, now Bali says, he first prostrates to his guru. Yes. Satyam bhagavata proktam dharmo yam grahamedhinam. This is in the next chapter. Artham kamam yasho vrittim yo nabhadheta karhachit. He says, yes, what you are saying as a grihastha dharma is true. True that for the artha, kama, yasha and the livelihood can be performed only when the grihastha dharma, you have that scope of all your material benefits, without which you cannot do all these things. And since he is aiming for grabbing all these things, I can step back. I understand your logic. But then, this is something very beautiful and sweet of Raja Bali. This comes in the 4th shloka. He says, Nahi asatyat paro dharmaha iti ho vacha bhuriyam sarvam sodhum alam manye riteli kaparam naram. Earth, in the Krita Yuga, she had said, it seems, that with all these different creatures running on me, we all do, right? I can sustain, I can take care of all these things. But what hurts me the most is somebody who is adharmi and asatyavadi. Such people walking on me, I feel most hurt. So, hey Shukracharya, naham bibhemi, I am not going to be afraid of this Vamana who is Vishnu in a different form. I have made a promise and I am going to stay by my promise. When there were great rishis like Dadichi, who gave up his entire life to give the backbone for Indra, Shibi, who gave his life to save a small little doe, I think not standing up to your word or promise that you have made is as great a sin as turning your back away from the battlefield when there is somebody challenging you. Like India Pakistan cricket match ho raha hai, and the bowlers are ready to bowl, and the batsman says, I am not going to bat. Do you think when you come back to India, people will spare you? No. This is worse than that, is when you give somebody a promise and don't fulfill it. Better would have been if I were intelligent enough in not giving my word at all. Now that I have given my word, I'll see to it that I fulfill this promise. And when you say that it is Vishnu in this form, how many people get such opportunity? That Vishnu himself comes and I have the audacity to give him. I don't mind giving. And when I have not done anything adharma, if he still finds it convenient to bind me, I'll take it not as a Shatru's effect on me, but I'll take it as my karma phala. That which is inevitable is happening. And knowingly I have not done any adharma in my life. I am very clear about it. So I am going to give, fulfill the promise that I have given to this Vatu. So suddenly Shukracharya loses his temper and curses Bali, making Vamana's presence and his boon that he is going to ask from Bali, making it more easy. So what is the shapa that he gives? He says, Dhridam Panditamag. You think that you are a Pandita, but then you are speaking like a Pandita. When somebody says you are appearing very wise, what does it mean? That appearances are deceptive. So you only appear wise, but actually you are otherwise. So Bali, you are behaving like that murkha. Because you are not paying heed to my words and disrespecting me, I curse you that all the Shri that you have be washed away from you. Now Bali said, thank you, Maharaj. If I were to give up all that and run away, people would have thought that I am an escapist. Today I can claim that if I don't have anything around me, it is because you have cursed me, and hence therefore I can be dispassionate. See, when you have seen all great people through Bhagavatam, whenever they were cursed, they had such magnanimity to embrace even that curse and turn it into a positive thing, that the person who really cursed them starts feeling, did I curse them or give them a boon? Yeah, this is what happened even in Narada's case, that Daksha Prajapati curses him, that you will not stay more than that time which is taken to milk the cow. You will never stay permanent in one place. We talk of globetrotters. He is like, 14 worlds he keeps trotting around. He says, oh brother, and he was actually his elder brother too. He said, thank you. If I stay in one place, then I'll have Shishya. And for those Sishyas, I'll have to ask for the funds. I have to start organizing for year-end fundraisers. And in the fundraisers, I have to create a big flow chart as to why these funds are required. Now that I don't need to have an ashram, I don't need to have Sishyas, I am Nitya Mukta because of your curse. Thank you. Keep cursing me like this. Now Daksha looks at you and says, hey, that was meant to disturb you, agitate you. He says, I'm sorry again to disappoint you there. So here also Bali, he takes it in his own stand. So he turns around, walks to Vamana, and Vamana takes the Kamandalu, takes the water, pours it into Bali's hand and receives the water in his hand. That is to sign the memorandum of understanding that he is going to abide by the word that he has given. And suddenly, as Bali turned around to come back to Vamana, when he turned again to Vamana, he looked. Vamana was no more a Vaturupa, a small little Vamana. He grew into a shape wherein the entire 14 worlds were to his, kati level, to his waist level. He was looking that huge. So he looked at, and there's a beautiful description of the entire Vishwarupa. So this Vamana Avatara, what did he do? He took one step of his, put on the earth, expanding towards the lower worlds. He said, 1 foot of space that you promised, I have taken. And second foot he placed on the Swarga. So 1 foot here and second foot there. Where does this come? This comes in the 33rd shloka and 34th shloka of this chapter. Kshitim pada ekena balehe vichakrame nabha sharirena dishah bahubihi padam dvitiyam kratam. With the second foot, he occupied the entire Swarga and then looked at Bali. He said, hey Bali, where is the place? Now, I have taken up the entire world of yours in 2 steps. I had asked for space of 3 steps. So you owe me still 1 step. In between, what happened? The next chapter, the 21st chapter, actually is an in-between scene. Before the Lord took his feet away from the Swarga and started speaking to Bali, something happened. What happened? It seems, as he put his foot on the Swarga, Brahmaji and the other Devatas who were there said, that feet of the Lord which we keep searching for, unasked has come towards Swarga. So Brahmaji immediately took out his Kamandalu and washed the feet of Vamana. That over the period of times flew down from the Akasha Ganga to the earth to become Gangaji. There are certain kritis in the, I think it is Annamaya's kriti, right? Brahma Kadigina Padamu. Annamaya's. So in that Annamaya kriti he says about this water that was used by Brahmaji to wash the feet of the Lord. This is the moment when he found that there was one leg up there. He washed that feet and did the Sodashopachara Puja before he could remove the feet. And that is how Gangaji was born. And there is something else also happened. As 1 feet was in this world and 1 feet on the Swarga, the king of all bears, who is he? Jambavan. He went with the speed of mind That is what it is written here. Manojavaha, Manojavaha, with the speed of the mind. He did 7 times pradakshina of these 2 feet. Imagine, 1 feet is on earth and the lower worlds, and 1 feet is on the entire upper worlds. And he did pradakshina of both these feet 7 times before he became another, again Vamana form. Remember in Ramayana, we come across a story wherein there are Hanuman, Jambavan, then Angada, Nala, Neela, and many other. So everybody is thinking that this distance from this side to Lanka is 100 yojana, 100 yojanas. So the first one to speak is Jambavan. जब मैं उम्र में था, when I was young, I had gone around the entire universe doing 7 pradakshinas around Vamana avatar. This 100 yojanas now in my old age is not possible. So that is mentioned here, that he had done the pradakshina. Now at one side there is this puja and worship happening, and on the other side Bali and his commanders, when they saw that Raja Bali has been tricked in by the evergreen Mayavi, that's what they call him, Vishnu, who has tricked Bali into giving these 3 footsteps of space and now has occupied the entire assets of Bali, they got angry. They all gathered together and attacked Vamana. Vamana's Parshada, who were standing next to him, they took their Astra Shastra and cutting asunder all these Asura Sena. So Bali, looking at all his friends who were trying to fight for him, looked at them and said, "Hey friends, I appreciate all your help. It is not as though I was not aware that this is Vishnu himself. Shukracharya ji had given me that information beforehand. And these are the Parshadas which you have defeated earlier several times. Today, time is not with us. Today, the Nakshatra Bala is not with us. The best thing would be is to survive today and think of a plan of regaining our status tomorrow. Withdraw from that war." So they all went back to Sutala. As though by understanding the Lord's intentions, Garuda tied down Bali in Varunastra. So he was tied down. So the Lord looked at him and said, "Hey Asura, you had promised me 3 footsteps and 2 I have occupied already. Now since you do not have anything else to fulfill your promise, I send you to Naraka for not fulfilling your promise." Now story apart, pause here for a while and think. If you have ever promised somebody something, even as a joke, fulfill it, come what may. Because what is the repercussion of not fulfilling a promise? Is that it is a direct gateway to hell, Naraka. Having said that, I'll add a corollary to it. What is the most intelligent way of living? Never promise anyone anything. I'll tell you the reason when it comes, apt time comes. Bali's wife tells why we should never promise. That will come in next chapters. He says, since you have not fulfilled your promise, I'll throw you down into hell. Now Bali looks at the king, Vamana, with a smile, and he starts answering in the 22nd chapter. He says, Hey Vamana, you are Lord Vishnu himself who is the Aradhya Daiva of the Devatas. You have assumed that I will not be fulfilling your promise. Hence you have tied me down and you are threatening me that you would be pushing me down to hell. But did I ever say that I did not fulfill your promise, or I am not going to fulfill your promise? I may not have anything of this. And if you think that in engaging you, I have done any kind of adharma, you can put me down to hell, you can snatch all the property that I have and do whatever with me, I am not afraid. But you do not have the opportunity to assume for yourself that I am not going to fulfill my promise. As I have already given you my word, you should give me the opportunity to fulfill my promise. And in a way, I should say thanks to you. This is to Vamana. Yes. When people have lot of wealth, when people have lot of luxuries around, their buddhi goes vakra. And now that you have snatched that things away from me, as your name is Hari. Hari means the one who has the capacity to snatch things away from you. That's also one of the meanings. There are 14 meanings of Hari. Thanks for taking away all this where I could have unnecessarily gotten trapped into. Now with regards to the third foot, where you have to put, this is a very simple answer. Put your third foot on my head. Now Lord himself is like, wow, this solution is what I was waiting for. See, when somebody has done so much of dharmic life, their net result cannot be pathetic. That is what we all cry foul in today's world. I have tried to live such a dharmic life, but why does this have to happen always with me? The end result is what counts. All the rishis, what do they do tapas for? Their entire tapasya, penance, is for having the blessings of the Lord. Now unwanted, the Lord has to place his feet where? On Bali's head. All his dharma is answered, dharma karya is answered when the Lord put his feet on his head. Now comes Vindhyavali, wife of Bali. She comes crying and says, Hey Lord, you asked and he promised. So when you look at the lady and her beauty, yes, you asked and he promised. Why do you have to ask? And what right does he have to promise? why do you have to ask, and what right does he have to promise? And the way she tells it, it's so beautiful. Those who consider themselves kartuhu, those who think themselves to be the doers, forget for a moment in their life, whenever that doership has become strong in them, forget momentarily that everything that my husband just promised you was in fact nothing but yours only. And what great has he done by giving all that which was already yours to you? So from that perspective, does he have any right to even promise you something? And look at that lady and her depth of understanding things. It is also almost like treating a child. बड़े आए तुम मांगने और बड़े आए देने वाले. I understand that your entire Leela is a Krida. In this entire Krida, you have created something which he has assumed by wrong means that it is his because of his doership. Now when in wrong assumption what people have thought itself is wrong, then you talk about righteousness and unrighteousness, the basis for it itself is wrong. Man, I tell you, my hands go up in awe for this wife of Bali. See, the basis is that I am the Karta, I have acquired all this property and asset, hence therefore have the audacity to give it to you. That Karta himself, the ego itself is wrong. Now the promises made or the righteousness, unrighteousness is totally a wrong logic. What is wrong in this is the foundation. Foundation is from the ego. The ego itself is wrong. So as she completed speaking, Prahladji comes. Prahladji says, "O Lord, whatever we do, we reap the benefit of it. And as I see you, and with lot of effort I am pulling myself to talk this to you, but I feel so blessed that you yourself have placed your foot on my grandson. His life is also done with now. That itself is moksha." Now Brahmaji says, "Now Lord, he has given you the third foot. It is not right on your part to keep him bound in that Varunastra, Varuna Pasha. Release him from that." So he was released. And the Lord promises in the 23rd chapter to Bali, until the next Manvantara begins, you will be in the Sutala taking care of all your brothers and take care of them well. In your next Manvantara, not the 7th one, the next one, 8th Manvantara, what will Raja Bali be? This Indra Padavi will be given unto you. This is my blessings to you. Then he turns to Shukracharya, who, Vamana, thanks for informing him. He was into some puja, the yajna that he was performing, which was stopped in between. And this is one of the Nyaya Sutras that is said by the Lord himself. He says, "Brahman samstanu sishyasya karma chhidram vitanvataha yat tat karmasu vaishamyam brahma drishtam samam bhavet." When the Sishya is performing something and the Brahmana is getting the work done or the act done by the Yajamana or the Sishya, and if there are some loopholes here and there, when the Brahmana or the Guru rectifies it in the absence of the Sishya, the phala still goes to the Sishya. So can you pull yourself together and finish that yajna so that he'll get the benefit of that final yajna karma that was to be done? So with the advice of Vamana, Shukracharya performs and completes that yajna. And then Vamana Bhagavan looks towards Kashyapa and Aditi and says, now are you happy? For one mother's desire to bring back Indra to his own position, the entire Vamana Avatara had to be taken and Bali had to be sent back to his place in Sutala. Now here there is a beautiful shloka which is said by Shukacharya. He says, glories of Lord thus can be enumerated in plenty, again and again. How many such glories are there? If somebody asks, I can very surely tell them that as many molecules make earth, that many glories of the Lord are there. I can keep talking and you can keep listening to it. Now when he makes such a comment, then probably Parikshit had always had this question in his mind that, I have never heard about a great description as to why Matsyavatara, the Lord had to take shelter into Matsya to express as the incarnation of Matsya. Can you enumerate that? So in the 24th chapter, Raja Parikshita asks, Matsyam loka jugupsitam. Have you ever gone through a fisher community? Or a place where in Vishakhapatnam there are two places. One is Vishakhapatnam, another one is called Bhimli. You travel, the sea coast is so beautiful while you drive, but in between there is this fisher folk village, wherein on either sides of the road, for a few miles, they have this fish drying on lines, miles together. And when you go through that particular patch, at least I felt always, usually we used to go on bikes, motorbikes, even after having gone to the other place, and I smell my dress, the clothes that I wear, it smells of that fish. And living in Bombay in the apartment system, our friends, but they were living, we were living above them. So by the time we would start having our dinner, they will start cooking their dinner. So by 8:39 we will start sitting for dinner. They were Bengalis. In sarson ka tel, that fish fry. And it almost felt that we were eating it by the time we were eating it at that time when they were cooking. It is not a pleasant feeling unless you have grown up with that. So that is what he says. Matsyam loka jugupsitam. People don't have that kind of a great taste towards that that particular form of fish. Then why did Lord take into that form? Just because you are saying there are many glories of the Lord, can you explain this glory of Lord? Shuka Uvacha, he says that Lord usually is very equanimous towards all kinds of creatures in this world, but Go Vipra Sura Sadhunam Chandasam Api Cheshwaraha. Go Vipra Devata Sadhu Veda Dharma. Whenever there is something very terrible happening to these, the Lord takes avatar. So Pura, what happened? In the end of last Kalpa, Brahmaji, seeing that his tenure has come to an end, wanted to sleep. Now Brahmaji's tenure is really big when you start calculating, painfully big. So when his tenure came to an end, the Pralaya Samaya, he went to sleep. And in his hands there was this Vedas which were stolen by Hayagriva, Hayagriva Asura. There are two Hayagrivas. So this was Hayagriva Asura. He stole away the Vedas to own them. And Lord Srihari understood that there should be something done before Brahmaji wakes up, so that the entire system, entire cosmos can be maintained in a natural way. So what did he do? So before he comes down into Avatara, there is a little story given. There was this Rajarshi called Satyavrata. And this Satyavrata was a great devotee of the Lord. In some river, he was taking, Kritamala Nadi. He was taking his holy dip and giving ablutions to his ancestors. So once he was giving that water, Tarpana, and he saw a little fish. So he very gently took that fish and offered it back into that waters. So the fish immediately started speaking to the king, and the king was like, did I hear you speak? He was surprised. So he looked at this fish. In fact, who is this Satyavrata? This Satyavrata is the one who in this kalpa, this was in the last kalpa, the Satyavrata story. Satyavrata in this kalpa is the son of Vivaswan, Shraddha Deva, who is the Manu for this Manvantara. It is, he had the darshan of the Lord in that small little fish thing. Now when a fish starts speaking to you, you start speculating something fishy happening. He said, no, I am not going to pay attention. He focused on his mantra japa that he was doing, and fish really spoke. He said, I was afraid that I am so small, tiny, that other fishes, in our community, our own kinds eat our own kind. So I was afraid that I would be eaten by bigger fishes and came to your Sharanagati. This is what you do to people who come to your Sharanagati? And the king immediately looked and said, sorry Baba, come. So he took it into his kamandalu and took it back to the ashram. By the time he reached to the ashram, this fish looked at Satyavrata and said, thanks for putting me in this little thing, but I think, don't you think this is little too small for me? He had picked up that fish which was this small. And suddenly the entire kamandalu was filled with that fish. So he just like, okay. And he took it into a tub and got bigger than the tub, put it in a well, bigger than the well, then transferred it into a bigger lake. Then the next day morning it was bigger than the lake. And finally he says, you are a speaking fish. Okay. In a day and a half you have grown to this enormous size, and every time you give me this logic as though that you have come to my Sharanagati and I have to protect you, tell me who exactly are you? So Sri Hari, Noonam Bhagavan Sakshat, who exactly are you, Bhagavan? So Lord Sri Hari gives the darshana, and Bhagavan says, I was impressed with your bhakti and wanted some help from you. They say, kabhi kabhi Bhagavan ko bhi bhakton se काम पड़े. So this is one of such rare opportunities that the Lord comes saying, hey, I need some helping hand. Can you jump in? So he says, listen carefully. 7 days from now, this comes in the 32nd sloka, Saptame Adhyatan urdhva, from today, 7th day, you will find that the waters of deluge will cover the entire earth. It will start filling in. At that time is the pralaya. Usually everybody merges into that pralaya, but I would require your help. Why? Because Brahmaji had already gone to sleep and his Vedas were missing. So the Lord was on a different task. Usually he would have taken care of the other creatures also, but then he said, I need your help so that I can go in search of that Vedas. So this Satyavrata was given instruction that all the pranis in their sukshma sharira, all the dhanya in its nascent form, you will have to gather and collect. And by the time the deluge water really submerges earth, you will find that you will get a huge ship and load all these things into that huge ship. The Saptarishis will accompany you and you will be going in that deluge waters. It will be very dark, but because of the Saptarishis and their tejas, you will find some effulgence. When this deluge water becomes too much to control, then I will come in the same form as Matsya. With Vasuki's help, I will tie down this boat onto my horn, the golden horn on me. And at that time, once I start taking you in those deluge waters, if you feel like asking clarifying some questions, I will be able to gladly answer you. So as instructed by the Lord, Satyavrata was waiting for that day, and he had gathered all these sukshma shariras, all the dhanya and every kind of creature was collected, and he found the Saptarishis also coming in, dropping in, and he found this huge boat, huge ship that came in, and he added everything into that. The Saptarishis thanked Satyavrata and said, now start meditating on the Lord. No sooner that he sat down for meditating on the Lord, that the deluge waters really started behaving terrible. And there comes the Matsyavatar. And looking at that Matsya, this Rajarshi Satyavrata praises that Lord in that form, offers his prayers to that Lord and asks him various questions with regards to spiritual evolution. Now, what are those various questions? Because I also don't have those questions. All that has been mentioned in this 24th chapter is that he had a huge discussion until Brahmaji woke up. Now, as long as Brahmaji is one day, his night is also that long. So this kalpa is one day, that long is his night. So he had enough time spent with the Matsyavatara, learning all these great secrets, that he had samadhi right there on that boat. Then when the Brahma woke up, Lord merged into this waters, killed that Hayagriva, brought back the Vedas and handed it over to Brahmaji. And in this Manvantara, because of his tapasya, penance and help for the Lord appointed him as the Manu for the 7th Manvantara, which is this Manvantara. Thus we come to the conclusion of one of the, 10th canto is completely the stories of the Lord in the form of Krishna. In this particular canto you will find that you have major avatars, Matsya Avatara, Kurma Avatara, Vaman Avatara, Mohini Avatara. There are so many avatars that are covered in this canto. Such beautiful canto now comes to an end. So we finish the 8th canto. Next month we will deal with the 9th canto, and probably it is the 10th canto which will require 3-4 months. It has more than 100 chapters, and it is Krishna Leela. I don't want to rush through that. Ninth canto we will, I think, finish next month. So God willing, Haricha, we will meet next month to look into the 9th canto. No. Tomorrow by this time I will be having the night out or the sleepover with the high schoolers. A fun activity with the high schoolers. So we will conclude the yajna today. Sri Krishna. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. This time I have something very special, which is the BMI chart, which is like a magnet. So I found it in some other mission center. I grabbed it and brought it for the Yajna Prasada here. So those of you who are new to the BMI chart, it is not the body mass index, but the body mind intellect chart. You can refer to Ishavasyopanishad's introduction, and Gurudev has covered quite a bit there. So please come and offer your Guru Dakshina in front of Gurudev and take the prasada from me. एक ऑफिस में